Nobody told me my 60s would mean less people in my house and more freedom to walk around without a bra.
Same here. And I haven't worn long pants since 2021, unless, of course, somebody died or got married.
Well, this is Jim, and he used to sprint through life like it was a race. But now he paces himself because he finally can.
In this tab, she learned the magical art of saying no. And she doesn't feel bad about it at all.
Not at all.
And together, we're Unretired AF.
Well, hello and welcome to today's show, where we're going to be talking about the things that nobody told you what the 60s would be like. There are quite a few of those things. But before we go there, we want to shout out to our subscribers and tell you thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And if you are new here and this is one of your first times visiting us, we would love it if you would hit that subscribe button so you can get our programs every day, Monday through Friday in your feed. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about is empty nest, full life. For many of us, our kids have moved out and we are empty nesters.
Yeah.
And the house is quiet now, which is nice. And we also have a chance to reclaim some space.
Yeah.
Now we've already downsized, so we aren't doing that, but we know
We're
a lot of you
craving space
are
now.
Yes, we are. But a lot of you are reclaiming space that maybe used to be your kids' room and you've saved it for a few years and now they're married and have their own kids and they're not moving home. So you can have that office or that sewing room or whatever it is that you want to have. That used to be their room, so you can reclaim your space. You can reclaim your time.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that happens when you're in your 30s, 40s, and even 50s is you're taking care of other people. When you're young, you're taking care of your kids. When you're older, you're taking care of your parents often or older relatives. And now the 60s, people don't tell you this. Nobody told us that the 60s can really be our time that we can focus on us.
Absolutely.
And it can also be a time to focus on intimacy because you can run around naked and if you want to.
Right. I mean, you don't have to worry about who's walking in on you.
Right. Except the pets now. That's another
except the pets, yeah. So, for me, I mean, I think the 60s is going to be, or is, my best decade. I think so.
I think so, too. And people don't tell you that because you get to focus on yourself and not feel selfish about it.
Right.
All right. Well, the next thing is, it's the time where you get permission to slow down.
If you want to.
But I think you want to. I think most of us want to. It just doesn't mean we want to stop.
Right.
But we want to slow down. I mean, because when we were younger, I know when we were in our 30s, 40s, and even our 50s, we looked at slowing down as slacking.
Yeah.
You know, we would think that we would feel bad. Even when we got sick and stayed home, we would feel guilty about it.
Right.
And then we would, I think, sometimes even seem sicker than we actually were just to sort of justify to ourselves that it was okay to stay home.
Right.
Whereas now it's okay to slow down.
Yeah. And we can enjoy the moments that we used to let rush past us.
Right.
And I mean, I know we were bad about that. There's a lot of times that we could have traveled or we could have gone and enjoyed our boat, and instead we blew it off for work. And
we kind of felt, I don't want to say that we were playing the martyr, but there was a little bit of like martyr feeling about it to justify doing that, you know?
Yeah.
And you can just lay that stuff down now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about that. I mean, I think the slowing down and not rushing past, just like we talked about, I think in another episode about that our mornings aren't rushed anymore. Right. When we're getting ready, we spend some time together in the morning and just connect and we still put in a fair amount of hours, but nothing like we did in the past. I mean, it's so funny. Sometimes I think you and I say we're working part-time, but we're probably working 40 hours, but we're not working 80 hours or 70 hours like we used to. So slowing down for us,
we still put in long days and late nights if we have to now.
Right,
but not all the time.
Right, and it isn't like
not
how,
all the time.
but it isn't like how it
Right.
was when we were
Right.
younger. We
Right.
have slowed down, and there are some times, where I've taken like a month and really just done the bare minimum.
Yeah.
and been okay with that too.
Yeah.
It just that's the great thing. We have that flexibility
Right.
now. So
Right.
The next thing we want to talk about are boundaries, baby. At this age, if you haven't developed boundaries, you're probably needing therapy, would you say?
Yeah.
Because people will take advantage, especially, as you get older and you've accumulated a few things, you will definitely have people wanting to try and take advantage. So, you have to know the things and the people that energize you, that make you feel good,
Right.
and bring you joy.
Yeah.
And it's not like they have to contribute anything financially or whatever. We're not talking about that, but even like you might just have a friend that makes you laugh, and that's enough.
Right.
But we also know those things, situations, and people that drain us, and we got to cut those things off. We have to
Yeah.
make boundaries.
Yeah. The easy one is, and I will say I use it a lot, is maybe later.
Oh,
Maybe later is really code for not gonna happen. But
well, I remember that with my dad. It would be like maybe later, but then as he got older, he just said not gonna happen. He just kind of went through the bullshit. He bypassed the bullshit answer and went right to the not gonna happen.
But the as we get older, though, it's a lot easier to talk with clarity and be confident about it.
Right.
I mean, I have no problem telling somebody no, which I did in my 40s and 50s. I did.
Right.
And I just think that has just come with age and experience.
Well, and we were susceptible, all of us, even me, to I know, to being guilted into doing stuff. Because if people know you and they know what your buttons are,
right,
you can be. Because I always thought that I was never manipulatable. And that's bullshit. I was manipulatable. It was so smooth and so good that I didn't even see it until I was much older of how I was being manipulated. Because for me, my motivation is to be right, to be helpful, to be in charge.
Right, right.
So if people want me to do something and they appear helpless and they make me feel smart and they let me be in charge,
all of a sudden you've taken over.
All of a sudden, and they let me. I mean, they just would do that, and now I understand that a little bit better.
Sure.
Especially when you volunteer for a lot of things and you realize you're getting burned out.
Right.
People know how to push your buttons.
Sure they do. Sure they do.
So anyway, we don't allow that anymore. Well,
no, we try not to.
Right. Well, and then the next thing is your 60s can be the ultimate reinvention decade.
Absolutely.
Because you're working for different reasons.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily working to build anymore, build a life. You're working because you enjoy it and you have purpose from it. You're usually a little bit more stable and settled. Even if your finances aren't 100% where you want them to be, it's not like you were in your 20s. You probably got a good skill, so you can earn more than somebody just starting out.
Yeah.
So, we're not trying to pretend like that we have it all figured out and that we're 100% sorted. We're not. We're figuring it out just like all of you, just like everybody else, or at least half of you, the ones that aren't, sorted out with your $1 million retirement fund. But anyway, right now, the 60s, it's like a blank canvas where you can ask, what do I want to do now? And it might be the time. Let's say you wanted to be an artist your whole life, but you just didn't think financially that made sense.
Right.
Well, now might be a good time for you to explore something like that. Or maybe, I know you've talked about doing some like craftsman things, making things with your hands, because that's very satisfying for you.
It is.
And that's something that would be great, for you to do.
Whether you want to travel, you have a new side hustle.
Right.
Really anything new, there's no reason why you can't do it in your 60s.
Right.
This is your decade to redefine yourself.
Right.
And have fun doing it.
Right. Right.
And smile.
Yeah.
Tell those around you love them.
Yeah.
You get a lot back out of that.
Well, and I think as we as we get older, we realize that we have a lot more time behind us than ahead of us.
Yeah.
So it puts things in perspective.
Absolutely.
About, there's no time like the present.
Right.
Or carpe diem, as they say.
Right.
Seize the day. Seize the day. So I guess the takeaway from this episode is it's all about freedom. And it's all about focusing on ourselves right now and us. I mean, obviously, your priorities can be your kids and your grandkids and all that, but it's not selfish to focus on yourself and yourself and you together as a couple. It's not, if you want to go and do a vacation by yourself and you don't want it to be a family vacation with everybody there, that's perfectly fine.
The beautiful thing about all of us, especially if you've been where most people in their 60s, they've decided it's retirement. For the second half of your life, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And you've got a blank canvas in front of you.
Yeah.
If you choose to not do anything with it, that's your choice.
Right.
But don't let somebody force you into not doing something about it.
Right.
Make it your new beginning.
Yeah. Or just society.
Yeah.
How society tries to make us. I mean, there's a lot of anger out there toward boomers because we're not retiring. I mean, it's real. I see it a lot of times out in social media.
Yeah.
And just don't let that bother you and don't listen to them. And they're not paying your bills. They're not living your life,
Right.
You are. So do whatever the hell you want to do. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you have any comments about this, this is a big, wide subject. There's so many things that you can talk about or say. If you have any comments, drop it in our comments section. We'd love to hear it. I'm sure our other subscribers would love to hear it, and we'll comment back to you.
Yep. We would love to hear from you. And if you've enjoyed today's episode and you'd like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. We produce new episodes every weekday, Monday through Friday. And we are on episode, this will be, I think, episode, 31?
31.
31. So we've been doing this now this is our seventh week.
This
is our 7th week. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your support as we're getting over the learning curve. If there's anything that you don't like about our channel, or that you think we can improve, if our sound's not good, if our video's not good.
The only way we know is if we get feedback.
Yeah, so feel free to leave us any comments, positive or constructive criticism. We're fine with that too.
Yeah.
Well, we're not slowing down.
And neither should you. And together, we're Unretired AF.